She's the only one who makes us proud. I stared at those words glowing on my phone screen, my 30th birthday cake still untouched before me. My mom had commented on my sister Brooke's latest Instagram post, a photo of her smiling at the airport, suitcase in hand, heading off to Paris on a surprise trip gifted by our parents. The post overflowed with heart emojis, exclamation marks, and cheerful congratulations from friends and relatives. My name is Ashley, and that day I turned 30 in a quiet apartment in Richmond, Virginia. I worked as a pharmaceutical sales representative, a steady job with decent pay, but nothing glamorous. I lived alone, mostly kept to myself, and had spent nearly 8 years trying to prove my worth to my family. That morning, I had woken up hoping for a call, a message, maybe even a card. Instead, there was silence. Then came that post. I sat at my small kitchen table, staring at the single cupcake I'd bought myself from the bakery downstairs, growing sadder by the minute. I refreshed the post again, as if hoping I'd misread it. But no. There was Brooke, 26, smiling like she'd won the lottery, and my mom's comment pinned proudly at the top for everyone to see. The truth is, I wasn't surprised. Not really. That's how it had always been. Brooke was the golden child, the one who could do no wrong, who received all the praise, attention, and support. And me? I was the afterthought, the one they tolerated, but never celebrated. Growing up, Brooke got the best room, new clothes, and private tutors whenever she needed help. I got hand-me-downs and a quick pat on the back for my straight A's. When Brooke wanted to join the middle school dance team, my parents paid for her lessons and costumes without hesitation. When I asked to take photography classes in high school, my dad said we couldn't afford it and told me to focus on something practical. So I worked after school at a grocery store to save up for a used camera. My parents never came to the small art show where my photos were displayed, but they never missed one of Brooke's dance recitals, always sitting front row with flowers. That afternoon, I called my mom hoping she might have just forgotten. The phone rang 4 times before she picked up. "Oh, Ashley." "Hi," she said, sounding distracted. "I'm at the airport with your sister. Can I call you back?" "It's my birthday, Mom." There was a pause, then the sound of airport chatter and announcements in the background. "Oh, right. Happy birthday, honey. Listen, we're boarding soon. I'll call you later, okay?" She hung up before I could say anything. I set the phone down and stared at the cupcake again. Then I opened my laptop and logged into the joint bank account I shared with my parents, the one I'd been contributing to for 6 years. It started when my dad had a health scare and needed surgery. The medical bills piled up quickly, and with their limited insurance, they were drowning in debt. I had just started my first good job and wanted to help. So I set up an automatic transfer, $500 a month from my paycheck into their account. It wasn't much, but over the years, it added up. I thought it was the least I could do. They were my parents, after all, but they never mentioned it. Not once, no acknowledgement, no gratitude. And when I casually brought it up at Thanksgiving 2 years ago, my mom brushed it off with a smile. "Oh, that's sweet of you, Ashley. But we're fine." "Really?" "Fine, they were doing fine. Yet here they were, spending what looked like several $1,000s on a spontaneous trip to Paris for Brooke. I did a quick calculation in my head. 6 years, $500 a month. That totaled $36,000. $36,000 I had given them. I thought I was helping. I thought it mattered. As I scrolled through the account history, my stomach tightened with every entry. The usual expenses were there, groceries, utilities, car payments. But then I saw it. A $4,000 charge from a travel agency, another $2,500 for boutique shopping, and just last month, a $10,000 transfer to Brooke's personal account labeled gift. They'd been using my money, not for necessities or emergencies, but for Brooke. I leaned back in my chair, my hands trembling. I felt foolish. All those years, all that effort, while they quietly funneled my support to my sister. Meanwhile, I was living paycheck to paycheck, skipping vacations and putting off buying new clothes just to make sure they were okay. I thought about all the weekends I'd turned down trips with coworkers because I couldn't afford them. The nights I'd eaten ramen for 2 weeks straight because my car broke down and I didn't want to touch my savings. The endless sacrifices, while my parents treated Brooke like royalty with my money. I looked at the cupcake again, then back at the screen, and made a decision. I clicked withdraw. It took me 3 days to transfer it all. $36,000 moved back into my account in small increments to avoid raising any alerts. I told myself it wasn't stealing, It was my money. I'd earned it. I'd given it freely, yes, but they'd deceived me. They'd used me. So I was simply taking it back. The guilt came in waves at first. I'd lie awake at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering if I was being petty, if maybe I was overreacting. But then I'd remember my mom's comment on that Instagram post. She's the only one who makes us proud. The guilt would fade, replaced by something harder, colder. I didn't tell anyone what I'd done. Not friends, not coworkers. I just kept going about my life as if nothing had changed. But inside, something had shifted. I wasn't sure if it was relief or anger, maybe both. Brooke called me from Paris on the third day of her trip. I ignored it. She called again the next day and the day after that. Finally, I picked up. Ashley, oh my God, you have to see this city. It's amazing. Mom and Dad are being so generous. We went to the Louvre yesterday, and tonight we're having dinner near the Eiffel Tower. Sounds nice, I said flatly. Are you okay? You sound off. I'm fine. Just busy. Well, I wanted to thank you. I know you've been helping Mom and Dad, and I'm sure that's part of why they could do this for me. So, thank you. I almost laughed. Almost. Instead, I said, don't worry about it. You're the best big sister ever, she said brightly. I could hear her smile through the phone. I hung up and tossed my phone across the room. The thing about Brooke is, she wasn't a bad person. Not cruel or malicious, just unaware. Spoiled, yes, but not intentionally so. She honestly believed the world revolved around her, because that's how our parents had raised her. And I couldn't even hate her for that. It wasn't her fault they'd chosen her as the favorite, but it still hurt. I remembered when we were kids, maybe 10 and 14. I'd saved my allowance for 3 months to buy a vintage camera I'd been eyeing at a pawn shop. The day I finally bought it, I came home thrilled to show my parents. But Brooke had just brought home a bad math grade, and they were sitting with her, comforting her, promising a new tablet if she improved. That's great. Ashley, my mom said distractedly when I showed her the camera, now go do your homework. I took the camera to my room and cried. Not because I wanted praise, I just wanted them to care, even a little. The next week, I started researching what to do with the money I'd reclaimed. I wasn't going to waste it. I wanted to invest it wisely, to make it count. I thought about putting it toward a house or investing. But then I saw an ad for a medical billing course, a 6-month program that could certify me for a career in healthcare administration. Something I'd always wanted, but never had the money or time to pursue. The tuition was $8,000 up front. Before, that would have been impossible. Now it wasn't. I signed up that night. My parents didn't notice the missing funds right away. Or if they did, they said nothing. But 2 weeks later, my dad called. Ashley, we need to talk. My heart dropped. About what? I asked. The account, he said. Something's wrong. A large sum is missing. Missing? Yes, over $30,000. I called the bank. They said it was transferred out. Do you know anything about that? I hesitated before answering carefully. I withdrew it. You what? It was my money, Dad. I deposited it and I took it back. There was a long pause. Ashley, that money was for emergencies. We were relying on it. Emergencies? I repeated tightly. Like a trip to Paris? He was silent again. That's different, he finally said. How? Brooke needed a break. She's been working so hard and your mom and I wanted to do something nice for her. And what about me? The words came out sharper than I meant. I've been putting money into that account for 6 years, Dad. 6 years. And not once did you or Mom say thank you or ask if I needed help. You just took it and gave it to Brooke. That's not fair, he said, but his voice lacked strength. No. Dad. What's unfair is how I've been working nonstop to support this family while you act like I don't exist. So yes, I took my money back, and I don't regret it. I ended the call before he could reply. My hands trembled, not from guilt this time, but from adrenaline, from finally standing up for myself. It felt good. Scary, but good. I poured a glass of wine and sat on the couch, staring blankly. Part of me expected to feel crushed by guilt, but instead, I felt free, like I had finally cut a rope that had been choking me for years. The fallout came quickly. My mom called that evening, her voice sharp and accusing. How could you do this to us, Ashley? We trusted you. You trusted me? I shot back. You've been lying to me for years. We didn't lie. We just didn't think you'd make such a big deal out of it. A big deal? Mom, that was $36,000. Money I gave because I thought you needed it. And you spent it on Brooke. Brooke's going through a lot right now, she said. She needed our support. And I didn't? She didn't respond. Instead, she said coldly, "Your father and I are very disappointed in you." I let out a bitter laugh. Of course you are. I'm always the disappointment, right? Brooke can do no wrong, but me? I'm the one who's never enough. That's not true, isn't it? When was the last time you celebrated anything I did, Mom? When was the last time you even asked how I was? There was a long silence. Then she said, "We'll talk when you've calmed down," and hung up. I didn't cry. I wanted to, but no tears came. Just a hollow ache, like something inside me had been torn away. I'd always known my parents favored Brooke, but hearing my mother defend it so casually shattered me. After that, I threw myself into my medical billing course. It became my escape, a way to turn pain into purpose. The classes were demanding, but I loved them. For once, I was doing something just for me. Not for approval. Not to prove anything, but because it felt right. Classes were twice a week in the evenings, and weekends were spent studying at a coffee shop near my apartment. I met others chasing new beginnings, and for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel alone. One classmate, Patricia, was a single mother in her 40s who'd lost her factory job and was retraining for stability. We'd have lunch together sometimes, and she'd share stories about her kids, the challenges, the exhaustion, and the hope. "You're doing the right thing," she told me one Saturday as we reviewed billing codes. "Investing in yourself is the smartest choice you can make." My coworker Vanessa noticed the difference in me too. She started inviting me for coffee more often, asking how I was really doing. I didn't tell her everything, but I shared enough about the money, my family, the years of feeling invisible. "You did the right thing," she said one afternoon at a cafe near our office. "They were taking advantage of you." I keep telling myself that, I admitted. But part of me still feels guilty. "Why?" she asked. "Because they're my parents. And Brooke's my sister. I feel like I'm supposed to just forgive them." Vanessa shook her head. "Forgiveness isn't the same as being a doormat, Ashley. You can love your family and still set boundaries." Her words stayed with me. I'd spent so many years trying to earn my family's love that I'd forgotten I didn't need to. I could simply walk away, but walking away was easier said than done. Brooke returned from Paris 3 weeks after my birthday and called again. This time, I picked up. "Ashley, what's going on?" "Mom and Dad are furious with you." "I'm sure they are. They said you withdrew money from their account. Is that true?" "It was my money, Brooke." "But they needed it." "No, they didn't. They used it to send you to Paris." She went silent for a moment. "I didn't know that. Of course you didn't. You never do. You just glide through life while the rest of us deal with the fallout." "That's not fair," she whispered. "Maybe not, but it's true." "Ashley, I'm sorry. I didn't realize it doesn't matter anymore." I cut her off. "Just enjoy your life, Brooke. That's what you're best at." I hung up and blocked her number. That night, I stood before the mirror for a long time. The woman staring back at me looked tougher, angrier, but stronger too. I thought about my mom's Instagram comment. "She's the only one who makes us proud." Then it hit me. I didn't need their pride. I needed my own. And for the first time ever, I felt it. I scrolled through old photos, work events, dinners with friends, solo trips I'd barely afforded. In every picture, I was smiling, but it never reached my eyes. I looked drained, defeated. Right then, I took a selfie, messy hair, sweatpants, bathroom light, and smiled for real. For the first time, the smile was mine. I posted it on Instagram with a simple caption, 30 and thriving, no tags, no mentions. It wasn't for them, it was for me. A month later, my parents reached out again. Brooke was still blocked, but Mom found another way. Email. The subject line read, "We need to talk about this situation." I almost deleted it. Almost curiosity won. I opened it. "Ashley, your father and I have been discussing your recent behavior. We believe you owe us an explanation. Taking that money was selfish, especially knowing our plans. Brooke is deeply upset, and so are we. We raised you better. We expect you to return the money immediately and apologize to your sister for ruining her experience. She's been crying every day since. Family should support one another, and you've let us down. Please call us so we can resolve this like adults. Mom, I read it 3 times. Each time my anger grew, they wanted me to apologize. To return the money. In their twisted view, I was the one who'd ruined Brooke's trip. A trip she'd already taken and enjoyed. Funded by my hard-earned money, I typed my reply, fingers moving fast. Mom, I owe you nothing. Not an apology. Not an explanation, and definitely not that money. I gave it believing it was for essential expenses. Instead, you used it to indulge Brooke while treating me like I didn't exist. I'm done being your backup bank account. I'm done being invisible. Don't contact me again unless you're ready for an honest conversation about the past 30 years. Ashley, I hit send before doubt could stop me. The medical billing course was going well. 2 months in, and I was excelling. Patricia and I had become true friends, studying together on weekends and sharing our stories. She was the first person I told everything to. They said, "What?" She gasped, eyes wide. We were in a coffee shop, books spread out. They want me to apologize and return the money. That's insane. Apparently, I said, sipping my coffee. Mom made it sound like I'd committed a crime. Patricia shook her head. They're panicking. They got used to having that money as a safety net. Now it's gone, and they're trying to guilt you into giving it back. It's kind of working, I admitted. I keep thinking about Brooke crying. Brooke's an adult. If she's crying, it's because reality finally hit her. I wanted to believe that. But part of me still felt guilty, the part trained since childhood to fix everything, to keep everyone else happy except me. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Virginia area code. Against my better judgment, I answered. Hello, Ashley? It's Dad. I should have hung up. I should have blocked the number, but something in his tone stopped me. What do you want? I want to talk. Really talk. Not argue, not fight. I'm listening. Your mom's email was out of line. I told her that. But Ashley, you have to understand our side. That money, we had plans for it. Plans that didn't include me, he sighed. It's not that simple. Actually, Dad, it is. You took my money and gave it to Brooke. And you let Mom post that comment saying she's the only one who makes you proud? You forgot my birthday. It's really that simple. We didn't forget your birthday. Your mom was just busy getting Brooke to the airport. That's even worse, Dad. You chose Brooke over me again, like you always do. Brooke needs more support. She's not as stable as you are. There it was again, the same excuse I'd heard my entire life. Brooke needs help. Brooke's struggling. Brooke deserves special attention, and me? I was expected to stay strong, dependable, the one who never needed anything. I can't do this anymore, I said quietly. I'm done setting myself on fire just to keep everyone else warm. Ashley, no, Dad, I'm serious. I'm taking my money back and using it to build my own life. If you can't be happy for me, then there's nothing left for us to discuss. I hung up and blocked the number immediately. My hands trembled, but a calmness settled over me. Every time I stood my ground, it became a little easier. The guilt was still there, but quieter, easier to ignore. At work, Vanessa noticed my mood and pulled me aside during lunch. You okay? You seem tense, my dad called. Oh no, what happened? I told her everything. How he'd once again excused it by saying Brooke needed more support and how I'd finally had enough. Vanessa listened silently, then said, You know what I think? You're grieving. Grieving? Yeah, you're grieving the family you thought you had, or the one you wished for. And that's normal. But you can't let that grief pull you back into their dysfunction. She was right. I was grieving. I was mourning the relationship I'd never have with my parents, and the sisterhood Brooke and I would never share. But more than anything, I was grieving the version of myself who had spent years trying to earn love that should have been freely given. That weekend, I was studying at a coffee shop when my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. It was Brooke. Ashley, please talk to me. I got a new phone. I didn't know about the money. I didn't know they used yours. I'm so sorry. Can we please talk? I stared at the message for a long time. Part of me wanted to hear her out, but the stronger part knew it wouldn't change anything. Brooke, I need space. I'm not ready to talk yet. Maybe someday, but not now, she replied almost instantly. I understand. I'm here when you're ready. I love you. I didn't respond. 3 months into my medical billing course, something unexpected happened. My instructor, Diane, who had worked in healthcare administration for 20 years, pulled me aside after class. Ashley, I wanted to talk about your work. You're one of the top students in the program. Thank you, I said, surprised. I'm serious. Your attention to detail is excellent, and you really have a knack for this. Have you thought about what you'll do after graduation? I was hoping for a position at a hospital or clinic, something steady. Diane smiled. I have a friend at Virginia Commonwealth University Health System. They're looking for someone in their billing department. It's a senior role with great pay. I'd like to recommend you. My heart skipped. Really? Absolutely. You'd have to interview, of course, but I think you'd be perfect for it. I left class that day feeling lighter than I had in months. This was it. The opportunity I'd been working toward, achieved entirely on my own, without my family's help or approval. When I got home, I found an envelope slipped under my door. No return address, but I recognized the handwriting immediately. My mom's. Inside was a birthday card, 3 months late, and a check for $500. We're sorry we missed your birthday. We hope this makes up for it. Love, Mom and Dad, $500, a fraction of what I'd given them over the years, and they thought this would fix everything. Tore up the check and threw it in the trash. The interview at Virginia Commonwealth University Health System was scheduled for the following Tuesday. Spent the weekend preparing, reviewing my coursework, practicing interview questions. Vanessa helped me pick out a navy blazer and slacks that made me feel confident and capable. On the morning of the interview, I woke up with butterflies. This was my biggest opportunity in years, and I wasn't going to let family drama ruin it. The interview went better than I'd imagined. Caroline, the hiring manager, was impressed by my background in pharmaceutical sales and my commitment to completing the program while working full-time. We need someone organized, detail-oriented, and able to handle pressure, she said. From what Diane told me and what I've seen today, you fit that perfectly. Thank you. I'm really excited about this opportunity. The position includes full benefits, and the starting salary is $75,000 a year. Does that work for you? I almost fell off my chair. $75,000, nearly double my old salary. That works perfectly. I managed to say. Great. I'll be in touch by the end of the week with our decision. I walked out of the hospital feeling like I was floating. This was really happening. My life was finally turning around. When I got back to my car, I saw 6 missed calls from my mom and 3 from my dad. I ignored them all. That evening, Vanessa invited me out for drinks to celebrate. We went to a downtown wine bar, and I told her about the interview, the salary, and how unreal everything felt. You deserve this, she said, raising her glass. After all you've been through, you deserve something good. I confessed. It still feels like something's about to go wrong. Nothing's going to go wrong, she replied. You're talented, you've worked hard, and you're finally prioritizing yourself. That's not selfish, it's survival. We talked for hours, and for the first time in months, I felt genuinely happy, not just relieved or justified, but truly happy. When I got home that night, there was another email from my mom. The subject line read, "Emergency." My stomach sank. Despite everything, they were still my parents. If something was truly wrong, I needed to know. I opened the email. Ashley, we need to talk immediately. Your father lost his job last week, and we're in serious financial trouble. We need that money back. This isn't a request. This is a real emergency. We could lose the house. Please call us as soon as you get this. Mom, I read it twice, my happiness from the evening fading away. My dad had lost his job. They might lose the house, and somehow this had become my problem. Except it wasn't. I'd given them $36,000 over 6 years. They had spent it on luxury trips and gifts for Brooke instead of saving for emergencies. These were the results of their decisions, not mine. But the guilt was crushing. They were still my parents. No matter how they'd treated me, did I really want them to lose their home? I called Vanessa. They're saying it's an emergency, I told her. Dad lost his job. They might lose the house. Ashley, listen carefully, she said. This is not your problem. But what if they're telling the truth? What if they really are in trouble? Then they need to handle it like adults, Vanessa said firmly. They can downsize, find new jobs, or ask Brooke for help. You are not their safety net. You already gave them $36,000 and they misused it. If they're in trouble now, that's on them. I know you're right. I do, but no buts, she interrupted. You're about to start an amazing new job. You're building a life for yourself. Don't let them pull you back. I took a deep breath. You're right. Absolutely right. After I hung up, I replied to my mom's email. Mom, I'm sorry to hear about Dad's job, but I can't help you financially. I've already given you $36,000, which was spent on non-essentials. I need to focus on my own life now. I suggest you ask Brooke for help since she's always been your priority. Wishing you both the best, Ashley. I hit send and turned off my phone. 3 days later, I got a call from Caroline. I'd gotten the job. I started crying right there in my living room. Tears of joy, relief, and pride. I'd actually done it. I called Patricia first. She screamed so loudly I had to move the phone away from my ear. I'm so proud of you, she said. This is just the beginning, Ashley. You're going to do amazing things. Then I called Vanessa, who insisted we celebrate properly. We went to a nice restaurant. Nothing extravagant, but nicer than any place I'd been in years. I ordered the most expensive dish on the menu and didn't feel guilty about it. To new beginnings, Vanessa said, raising her glass. To new beginnings, I echoed. My start date at the hospital was in 3 weeks. I gave my notice at the pharmaceutical company, and my boss was surprisingly supportive, even congratulatory. My medical billing course was ending, and I'd finished with top marks. Everything was finally coming together. Then Brooke showed up at my apartment. I was returning from the grocery store when I saw her sitting on the steps outside. She looked different, thinner, worn out. Her usual polished look was gone, replaced by something more subdued. What are you doing here? I asked, not coldly, but not warmly either. I needed to see you, she said. To apologize in person. Brooke, I told you I need space. I know, but please, just give me 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. I hesitated, then unlocked the door. 5 minutes. We went inside, and I set the groceries on the counter. Brooke stood awkwardly in the living room, looking around like she'd never been there before. I'd never invited her. Ashley, I didn't know, she started. I swear I didn't know they were using your money. When I found out, I confronted them. We had a huge fight. They said you were being dramatic, that you'd given them the money willingly and were now holding it over them. But I know that's not true. I saw their bank statements. I saw everything. I crossed my arms. So what do you want? Absolution? No, she said softly. I just want you to know I'm sorry. Sorry for being unaware, for taking everything for granted, for not seeing how badly they treated you. You're my sister. I should have noticed. Her voice broke and I saw tears forming in her eyes. Brooke, you were just being who they taught you to be, I said. I don't blame you for that. But I should have been better, she said. I should have paid attention. I should have stood up for you. I softened a little. Yeah, you should have. I told them I won't take another dollar from them until they apologize to you, she said quietly. And I meant it. That honestly caught me off guard. You did? I did. And now they're furious with me too. Apparently I'm the ungrateful one. Despite everything, I couldn't help but feel a slight twinge of sympathy for her. Welcome to my world, I said. I don't know how you lived with this for so long. I didn't have a choice, I replied. Brooke wiped her tears. I'm moving out of their house. I've rented my own apartment and I'm going back to school to finish my degree. I'm done being their perfect little princess. Good for you, I said, and I meant it. Do you think we could ever be real sisters? She asked quietly. Not just by blood, but actually there for each other? I thought about it for a moment. Maybe someday. But it's going to take time, Brooke. A lot of time. I understand, she said. I'll wait as long as it takes. After she left, I sat on the couch replaying her words. She was making an effort. It didn't undo the past, but it was a start. My phone buzzed, another email from my mom. I almost ignored it, but curiosity got the better of me. Ashley, I don't know what you said to Brooke, but now she's refusing to help us. You've turned her against us. You're tearing this family apart. I hope you're happy. Mommy deleted the email without replying. I was happy, and that's what scared them the most. The next 2 weeks went by in a blur. I completed my medical billing course at the top of my class, earned my certification, and prepared for my new position at the hospital. Patricia hosted a small celebration at her home, inviting a few classmates. It was simple, just pizza and cake, but it felt more genuine than any family event I'd ever attended. Speech! Someone shouted and everyone laughed. I stood up, feeling a bit awkward yet thankful. I just want to say thank you. 6 months ago, I was in a dark place, invisible, unappreciated. But this course and all of you reminded me that I matter. So thank you for being part of my journey. The room erupted in applause and Patricia hugged me. "You're going to crush it at that hospital," she whispered. The day before starting my new job, I decided to do something I'd been avoiding. I went through my social media and unfollowed my parents. I didn't block them, but I didn't want their posts showing up anymore. I was done letting their lives interfere with mine. As I scrolled, one of my mom's recent posts caught my eye. "Sometimes your children disappoint you in ways you never expect. We raised Ashley to be better than this, but she's chosen selfishness over family, praying for her to see the light." It had dozens of comments, mostly relatives and family friends offering sympathy. "Stay strong, family is everything," some wrote, but a few comments stood out. My Aunt Linda, my dad's sister, had replied, "Maybe it's time you look at your own behavior instead of blaming Ashley. I've watched you treat her terribly for years. She deserves better." And my cousin Jake wrote, "Ashley's been helping you financially for years. And you never appreciated her. Maybe she finally got tired of it." I felt a wave of relief. Others had noticed. People knew the truth. I took screenshots of the post and comments, saving them in a folder labeled Insurance, just in case. My first day at Virginia Commonwealth University Health System was both nerve-wracking and exciting. Caroline gave me a full tour, introduced me to the team, and walked me through my new responsibilities. The department was busy but well-organized, and everyone seemed genuinely kind. "You'll do great," Caroline said, smiling as she left me at my desk. "If you need anything, just ask." During the first week, I learned the systems, met with different departments, and began to understand how everything fit together. It was a lot to take in, but I loved every minute of it. This was real, this was mine, and no one could take it away from me. By the end of my first week, Caroline called me into her office. "I wanted to check in and see how you're settling in," she said. "It's been amazing," I replied honestly. "Thank you again for this opportunity." "You've earned it," she said with a smile. "I've heard great feedback from the team. You're learning quickly." "I'm trying my best. I can tell," she said. "And I want you to know there's room to grow here. If you keep performing like this, I can see you moving into a management role within a year or two." Management. Within a year or two? I could hardly process it. "That would be incredible," I finally managed to say. "Just keep doing what you're doing." I left her office feeling like I was walking on air. That weekend, I finally replied to Brooke's last text. I invited her to lunch at a small cafe near my apartment. Nothing fancy, nothing emotional. Just two sisters seeing if they could rebuild something from what was left of their family. She arrived looking anxious, holding her purse tightly. "Thanks for agreeing to meet," she said as we sat down. I figured it was time. We ordered sandwiches and chatted about simple things. Her new apartment, her plans to return to school, my new job. The conversation was stiff and uneasy, but it was a start. "I talked to Mom and Dad again," she said after a pause. "They still won't take responsibility. They think you're being spiteful." "Of course they do." I told them I wasn't going to play their games anymore. That if they wanted a relationship with me, they needed to grow up and apologize to you. How did that go? About as you'd expect. Mom hung up on me. Dad called me ungrateful. I felt a moment of sympathy. "I'm sorry. Don't be. You were right about everything. I was blind, Ashley. I took everything for granted and let them turn me into someone spoiled and unaware. I don't want to be that anymore. Change takes time." "I know," she said, "but I'm willing to do the work, if you'll let me." I looked at her carefully and saw something new. Honesty, regret, and a real desire to change. "Okay," I said finally. "But we're starting from zero. No expectations, no pressure. Just two people trying to be sisters." "I can live with that." We finished lunch and said goodbye with an awkward but sincere hug. It wasn't forgiveness yet, but it was a beginning. That night, I got a notification on my phone. My mom had tagged me in a Facebook post. Against my better judgment, I opened it. It was a long post about family values, respect, and how children owe everything to their parents. At the end, she'd written, "Ashley, if you're reading this, know that your father and I are heartbroken by your choices. We're praying you'll come back to us before it's too late." The comments were mixed, some supporting my parents, others asking what had happened. Some relatives tagged me wanting answers. I could have ignored it. I probably should have. But something inside me snapped. I commented on the post. Mom, I gave you $36,000 over 6 years to help with bills and expenses. You used it for luxury trips and gifts for Brooke while ignoring me completely. You forgot my birthday, publicly said Brooke was the only child who made you proud, and now you're trying to guilt me into giving you more money. I'm done being your ATM. If you want a relationship with me, start with an apology and take responsibility for what you've done. I hit post before I could change my mind. Within minutes, the comments started flooding in. Some relatives were stunned, others supportive. My Aunt Linda commented, "Finally, someone said it." My mom immediately replied, "This is a private family matter. How dare you expose our issues online?" I answered, "You made it public when you tagged me. I'm just sharing my side of the story." After that, I logged off and blocked both my parents on every social platform. My hands trembled, but I felt lighter than I had in years. For the first time, I had spoken the truth. I had stood up for myself in a way that couldn't be ignored or dismissed, and I was done apologizing for it. The Facebook post went viral overnight. By morning, there were more than 200 comments and countless shares. My inbox was full of messages from relatives I hadn't spoken to in years, some supportive, others demanding explanations. At 7 a.m., Aunt Linda called. "Ashley, sweetheart, are you all right?" "I'm fine. Actually, better than fine. I just saw your post. I had no idea things were that bad. Most people didn't. They were good at hiding it." "Well, the truth is out now. Tom and I talked, and we want you to know we're on your side. What your parents did was unacceptable. Thank you. That means a lot. And between us, your mother's losing her mind. She's been calling everyone, trying to get them on her side. It's not going well." I couldn't help a small feeling of satisfaction. Good. After hanging up, I checked my email. 3 messages from my mom, each one more desperate than the last. The first accused me of betrayal and slander. The second tried to guilt me, saying how hurt she and Dad were. The third was almost begging me to delete the post and call her. I deleted all 3 without replying. That Monday, I threw myself into work. The hospital billing department was demanding and complex, but I enjoyed the challenge. Caroline had trusted me with several high-priority accounts, and I was determined to prove my worth. During lunch, Vanessa called. "I saw your Facebook post. You and everyone else." "I'm okay. That took courage. I'm just done covering for them. If they wanted privacy, they shouldn't have made it public first." "Fair enough. How are they handling it?" "Not well, apparently. But that's not my problem anymore. Good for you. I'm proud of you." That afternoon, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost ignored it, but answered anyway. "Hello, Ashley." "It's your dad." I froze. "How did you get this number?" "I asked your cousin Jake. Please don't hang up." I stayed silent, waiting. "Your mother is devastated. That Facebook post embarrassed us in front of everyone. You embarrassed yourselves." "I just told the truth. We need to meet in person and sort this out." "There's nothing to sort out, Dad. You and Mom made your choices. I made mine. We're done. Ashley, please. We're your parents." "Then maybe you should have acted like it. I'm asking you one more time. Meet with us this week. We'll buy dinner and we can talk things through like adults." I almost laughed. "Like adults?" "Dad, adults don't forget their daughter's birthday. Adults don't take money from one child to favor another. Adults take responsibility." "We're willing to admit we made mistakes," he said quietly. That stopped me. "You're willing to admit it?" "Yes, we know we've been far from perfect. We want to make things right." I paused, torn. Part of me wanted to shut him out completely. But another part, the part that still remembered wanting my parents' love, wondered if maybe, just maybe, they meant it. "Fine," I said finally. "One dinner. But I choose the place, and Brooke comes too. Why does Brooke need to be there?" "Because she's part of this family too, and she deserves to hear whatever you have to say." He hesitated. "All right. When?" "Friday night, 6 p.m. I'll send you the address." After hanging up, I immediately called Brooke. "They want to meet," I told her. "All of us. Friday night. What did you say?" I said yes, but I need you there for support. "Of course I'll come. And Brooke, don't mention what we discussed earlier. I want to see if they'll be honest or just try to manipulate the situation again." "Got it." Over the next few days, I prepared for the dinner. I wrote down everything I wanted to say, every complaint I had buried for years. I wasn't going to yell or break down. I planned to stay calm, clear, and confident. They were going to listen, whether they liked it or not. Friday came sooner than expected. I picked a quiet restaurant in downtown Richmond, public enough to prevent a scene, but private enough for a serious talk. I arrived early and chose a table in the back. Brooke showed up 15 minutes before our parents, looking anxious. "You okay?" she asked. "I will be." At exactly 6:05 p.m., my parents walked in. My mom looked older than I remembered, her face drawn with stress. My dad had lost weight, his posture heavy as if weighed down by guilt. They sat across from us, and for a moment, no one spoke. Then my dad cleared his throat. "Thank you for agreeing to meet. Let's get to the point," I said. "You wanted to talk. So talk." My mom folded her hands. "Ashley, we owe you an apology." I waited. "We've been thinking about what you said, about the money, and how we've treated you." "You're right. We haven't been fair." "Go on." "We've always worried more about Brooke, because she struggled with things that came easily to you. You were independent, capable. We assumed you didn't need us as much. So you just stopped trying?" "We didn't stop trying. We just prioritized differently." "You forgot my birthday, Mom. You commented online that Brooke was the only one who made you proud. How is that a different priority?" She looked down. "That comment was a mistake. I was just happy for your sister." "A mistake you left for everyone to see," I said. My dad jumped in. "We're here because we want to fix this. We want our family back." "You mean your source of money back?" I corrected. "Let's be honest about what this really is." "That's not fair," my mom said, "isn't it?" Dad lost his job. You're struggling financially, and suddenly you want to reconnect. "The timing seems convenient." Brooke finally spoke. "She's right. You didn't care about making peace until you needed money." My mom turned to her, shocked. "Brooke, that's not true." "Actually, I think it is," Brooke said. "I checked the bank statements. I saw where Ashley's money went, and I've realized how differently you treated us growing up. She's been honest this whole time. We gave both of you everything we could," my dad said firmly. "No," I replied. "You gave Brooke everything." "I got what was left, and criticism." The table fell silent. My mom's expression cracked. "What do you want from us, Ashley? For us to beg? We're here. We're apologizing. What more do you want?" "I want it to mean something," I said. "It does mean something. Then prove it. Name one thing you're proud of me for. One achievement you celebrated. One time you put me first." She opened her mouth, then closed it. Nothing came out. The silence said everything. "That's what I thought," I said quietly. My dad leaned forward, frustrated. "Ashley, you're being unreasonable. We're trying here." "No, you're trying to guilt me into giving you more money. That's not the same thing." "That's not what this is about," my mom protested. "Then what is it about? Because from where I'm sitting, this looks like one last attempt to use me again." Brooke reached under the table and squeezed my hand, a quiet show of support. "Let me make something clear," I continued. "I'm not giving you any more money. Not now, not ever. I spent 6 years supporting you, and you took advantage of me. That's over." My mom's eyes filled with tears. "We're going to lose the house, Ashley. Is that what you want? To see us homeless? You won't be homeless. You can downsize, find work, or ask Brooke for help, since she's apparently the only one you're proud of." "I already told them no," Brooke said softly. "I'm done enabling this too." My parents looked stunned. "You too?" my dad asked. "We raised you better than this." "No," Brooke said calmly. "You raised me to be entitled and selfish. Ashley's helped me see that." My mom pushed back from the table, her voice rising. "This is absurd. We've apologized and admitted our mistakes. What else do you want?" "I want you to understand why what you did was wrong," I said quietly. "I want you to recognize that you hurt me, not just say sorry because you think that's what I want." "Fine. You want specifics?" She snapped. "We're sorry we forgot your birthday. We're sorry we didn't celebrate your successes. We're sorry we used your money. Is that what you wanted to hear? Say it like you mean it." My mom's face hardened. "I've said all I'm going to say. If that's not enough for you, then we're done here." She stood, grabbing her purse. My dad looked between us, torn. "Are you coming?" she asked him. He stood slowly. "Ashley, I hope you'll reconsider," he said softly. "Family matters." "Family is important," I agreed. "That's why I'm not letting you mistreat me anymore." They left without another word. Brooke and I sat in silence for a moment. Well, that went about as well as expected, she said finally. Yeah. You okay? I am, actually. I gave them a chance. They wasted it. That's on them. We ordered dinner and spent the next hour talking about everything except our parents. Brooke shared news about her new apartment and the classes she planned to take. I told her about work and my future goals. For the first time ever, we were just two sisters having dinner. No rivalry, no favoritism, no tension, just us. When we left the restaurant, Brooke hugged me tightly. Thank you for giving me another chance, she said. Thank you for showing up, I replied. Over the next few weeks, life found a new rhythm. I thrived at work, earning praise from Caroline and the team for my focus and reliability. The hospital environment suited me, and I took real satisfaction in knowing my efforts helped others, even indirectly. My parents tried reaching out several times, emails, voicemails, even a letter. Each message seemed apologetic at first, but carried the same undertone of manipulation, circling back to their financial struggles and how I could assist. I ignored them all. Eventually, the family drama on Facebook faded, though a few relatives messaged me privately, saying they'd suspected something was wrong for years. My Aunt Linda became a constant in my life, inviting me to dinners and holidays. She'd always been kind, but now she made a real effort to be there. Your mother's furious with me, she told me one Sunday over coffee. She thinks I'm turning the family against her. Are you? I asked. No, she said firmly. She did that on her own. I'm just refusing to pretend everything's fine. 3 months after that difficult dinner, Caroline called me into her office. I have some news, she said, smiling. We're creating a new position, Assistant Director of Medical Billing, and I'd like to offer it to you. My jaw dropped. Already? You've proven yourself, Ashley. You're organized, dependable, and the team respects you. The role comes with a solid raise and more responsibility. What do you say? Yes, absolutely yes. Great, we'll finalize it next week. I left her office stunned. Assistant Director? 6 months ago, I'd been crying over a forgotten birthday, feeling invisible. Now, I was stepping into a leadership role at a major hospital. I called Vanessa immediately. Are you serious? That's incredible, she said. I can't believe it's real. I can, she replied. You've earned it. That weekend, Patricia hosted a small celebration at her home. Just her kids, Vanessa, and Brooke. But it meant the world to me. These people had seen me at my lowest and stood by me as I rebuilt my life. To Ashley, Patricia said, raising her glass. The strongest person I know. Everyone echoed the toast and tears welled in my eyes. Thank you, I said softly. For believing in me when I couldn't. Later that night, while driving home, my phone rang. It was Dad. I hesitated, then answered. Hello, Ashley. It's Dad, please don't hang up. What do you want? I just wanted to tell you I found a new job. It doesn't pay much, but it's something. And your mom's working part-time now, too. Good for you, I said. We're going to be okay. We're figuring things out. I waited for the usual manipulation, but it never came. I wanted to start by saying I'm sorry. Truly sorry. Not because I expect anything in return, but because you deserve to hear it. We were wrong. We treated you poorly, and there's no justification for that. I pulled over, my hands trembling. Your mother isn't ready to admit it yet, but I am. You were right about everything. We took you for granted. We showed favoritism. We used you, and I'm sorry. Tears rolled down my cheeks. This was something I'd waited to hear for 3 decades. Thank you, I managed to say. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't even expect you to want a relationship with me. I just needed you to know that I understand what we did, and I'm ashamed of it. We spoke for another 20 minutes. He didn't ask for anything, not money or sympathy. He simply talked and I listened. For the first time, I felt like my father truly saw me. After we hung up, I sat quietly in my car, letting it all sink in. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it was a beginning. The months that followed brought changes I hadn't imagined. My new role as assistant director kept me both busy and fulfilled. I introduced systems that streamlined billing, saving the hospital thousands while boosting patient satisfaction. Caroline often praised my efforts in meetings, and other department heads started asking for my input. Brooke and I became closer. We met weekly for dinner and texted often. She had enrolled in community college, pursuing a business degree, and had also started therapy to understand the family patterns that shaped her. My therapist says I was raised to believe I was superior, she admitted one evening, recognizing that is the first step toward change. How's that going? I asked. It's hard, she said. Really hard. I keep catching myself expecting special treatment and have to remind myself that's not normal. The fact that you're trying means something, I told her. My relationship with Dad slowly improved. We spoke every few weeks, short calls where he shared updates about work and asked about mine. My mom still hadn't apologized, and I'd accepted that she probably never would. Some people just can't face that kind of self-reflection. 6 months into my position, I attended a healthcare administration conference in Washington, meeting professionals from across the country. During a session on billing innovations, I met Grace, who ran a consulting firm helping hospitals optimize their billing systems. You have some great ideas, she said after my presentation. Ever thought about consulting? Not really, I replied. I'm happy where I am. Well, if you change your mind, here's my card. We're always looking for talented people. I slipped the card into my pocket, not thinking much about it then. That Christmas, I spent the holiday with Aunt Linda's family. It was the first Christmas in years where I felt genuinely welcomed. Brooke joined us, and we exchanged gifts, shared laughter, and enjoyed too much food. My parents called that morning. Dad wished me Merry Christmas, and I could hear Mom in the background, though she didn't speak. How's your day going? He asked. It's good. Really good. I'm glad, he said. You deserve it. When I hung up, I didn't feel sadness or anger, just peace. The new year brought new opportunities. Caroline encouraged me to pursue a master's in healthcare administration, and with the hospital covering most of the cost, I enrolled in an online program. I was eager to continue learning. Vanessa got engaged and asked me to be a bridesmaid. Patricia's daughter graduated high school and decided to study nursing, inspired by our stories from work. My life felt full in ways I'd never expected. One Saturday in March, while cleaning my apartment, I found the old birthday card my parents had sent, the one with the $500 check I'd torn up. I'd kept the pieces tucked away, unsure why. After a moment's thought, I threw them in the trash. I didn't need their money or their approval. I'd built a life I was proud of, surrounded by people who truly valued me. That evening, Brooke messaged me. Just wanted to say I'm proud of you for everything. I smiled and replied, proud of you too. A few days later, my mom finally reached out. Her email had no subject line. Ashley, I've been thinking a lot. Your father tells me you're doing well, and I'm glad. I'm not good at apologies, and I may never be, but I want you to know that I see you now. I see what we did and how we hurt you. I don't expect forgiveness. I just want you to know that I'm trying to be better. Maybe one day we can talk? Mom, it wasn't the heartfelt apology I'd once dreamed of, but it was something. I wrote back, thank you for saying that. I'm not ready for a relationship yet, but maybe someday. I hope you and Dad are doing okay. She replied, we are, and I hope you are too. That was enough, for now. As spring turned to summer, my life continued to thrive. I was promoted again, this time to Director of Revenue Operations, overseeing multiple departments. My salary had nearly tripled from my old job in pharmaceutical sales, and I'd started looking at homes to buy. My parents faced their own changes after Dad's job loss. They sold their large house and moved into a smaller condo, both working and living within their means for the first time in years. According to Brooke, they occasionally talked about me and expressed regret for how they had treated me. Although my mom still found it difficult to say it to my face, Brooke graduated from community college with honors and later transferred to a 4-year university. She had found her own direction, separate from our parents' expectations, and I was truly proud of her for that. Over time, some family members who had sided with my parents quietly reached out. Some offered apologies, while others simply tried to reconnect. I was careful about who I allowed back into my life, choosing relationships that felt sincere rather than those based on obligation. Aunt Linda remained a steady presence, and through her, I reconnected with other relatives who had always been kind but somewhat distant. I also discovered cousins who had faced similar struggles with family favoritism, and we bonded through shared experiences. A year after that unforgettable birthday, I celebrated turning 31 with a gathering at my new townhouse. Vanessa, Patricia, Brooke, Aunt Linda, and a few of my colleagues from the hospital joined me. We shared a great meal, enjoyed wine, and for the first time, I truly felt celebrated. As everyone sang happy birthday, I looked around at the people who had become my chosen family and felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude, not for the hardships I had faced, but for the resilience I had built in overcoming them. My parents never regained the financial comfort they once had. My dad's new job paid significantly less, and my mom's retail position was part-time without benefits. They lived modestly, something they had never experienced while using my income. Extravagant vacations and expensive gifts for Brooke were no longer possible. According to my sister, they had to learn to budget for the first time in years. Brooke mentioned that our mom often complained about clipping coupons and shopping during sales, though she never admitted that she once had a safety net because of my support. My dad seemed to have genuinely changed, taking responsibility for their situation. My mom, however, continued to make subtle remarks to relatives about how hard life had become, often hinting that I could have prevented their struggles if I had been less selfish. Thankfully, most of the extended family saw through her manipulation and stopped enabling her narrative. Looking back, I realized that withdrawing my money wasn't an act of revenge, it was an act of self-preservation. I had spent years chasing love that should have been unconditional, trying to prove my worth to people who had already decided I wasn't enough. Taking back what belonged to me wasn't about hurting them, it was about finally choosing myself. And in doing so, I gained something far more valuable than money: the unshakable truth that I was enough, had always been enough, and never needed anyone's approval to confirm it. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's living well and never allowing anyone to dim your light again.